cycle of production. Now to tweet. I don't think I've got anything to tweet. Yes. We are getting there with some bits. I'll work on the socials folder. Yo. You want Froakie back in? I thought they were very cute. Yeah. Oh. He's here. I thought that framing was nice. Oh, Ollie is the best. She is just fucking rustled up everything I wanted to tweet. Just in the minute since we've gone live, she was like, oh shit, they're doing it. From a game? All right, ready to go? Look at his head. Moving over in 3, 2, 1. Hello everyone, it's not Saturday morning anymore. I've awoken from my slumber. And I am joined here to look at some playoffs with you. With Trajan and Rob. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Sorry to keep you waiting. How are we doing?
That's all right, mate. It's a Saturday. My wife has left the house for 5 days, so I need company. You know, I need someone to talk to. So I'm very glad to be here.
So what I'm hearing is we booked you for every single broadcast day this week. Excellent, fantastic, easy peasy. Rob, how you doing?
Look at this guy with his wife. And his house and his job. I should be saying the J word on broadcast, actually. But look at this guy coming out here with his life in order. It's Saturday afternoon at this point, and he's here talking about League of Legends, and he talks about his wife. Unbelievable. Like, that's ridiculous. I'm doing all right. I'm okay. I've had a significantly worse day now that I've been reminded that Trajan's got his life in order, and I'm sat here with my Pokemon plushies doing absolutely nothing with what was given to me by the Lord Almighty above.
Excellent. Well, hey, party at Trajan's house is what Ollie is suggesting, and I'm down.
I have a Hollow Knight plushie and a Worlds 2022 Timbers. You know, there's some soft.
How bad should I break the? I can't flip his camera to show them. I tried.
No, they have to. It has to rotate.
Oh,
you can probably see Zote just under there.
Yeah. Wicked.
Yeah.
All right. We're so glad to be here with you. And what we've got this morning looks a little bit like this. So, some playoffs games. I think Belfast versus Rise is going to be a bit of a banger. I think that's about as good as we get consistently. Would we all agree that Rise have got a similar issue to last split, where they're so good, and then every now and again it just doesn't hit, it just doesn't land?
It's harder to pinpoint it now, because before you could be like, Trizzy got triple banned, or Trizzy didn't get banned and still flopped. You know, that was starting to happen at the end. Like, it's harder to go, this is at least a repetitive problem for them. But honestly, over the last week or two, I kind of feel like BB Muffin's been kind of slow at the keyboard. I feel like he's not been as hot. I'm not going to say he's the entire reason for all their losses. He's not like the problem. But some of the consistent carries, we're seeing a few more problem games from Sin and Jamsu, from BB Muffin. To be honest, I think Aniki is still kind of my special boy, and I think he's still doing really well. But I think that the consistent elements from before are less so, and I guess it's a similar problem, but we're all taking a turn. You know? We're just sharing the load.
Aniki needs to stop picking Yorick, is the very first thing I'm saying. Please, I'm begging you to stop playing. I think the reason isn't about him, it's about what it does for the rest of the team. I think that's a huge one. Like, I think they're we're going to get to Inkwick in a bit, but I think that the draft against Inkwick stands out in my head as one of the most egregious things I've seen in a long time, where you were given... It was basically impossible for you to play that game. You saw it from minute one in that game for the bot lane of Rise, and then you saw it even later in the game where Sin could do nothing. I think Sin's played pretty well this split, actually. I think Jamsu's had a few difficult games, but overall Rise, they started off well, and then they went to this slump, and they won, obviously, a couple games or like a game at the end. You're right with BB Muffin. I think BB Muffin looked really good early on. But then I think that maybe once he started facing some better mid laners, he didn't really get that same kind of gap that we've seen him. Like, he was last split where we had BZ and Air, and BB Muffin was in that conversation with those two mids. And this split, I think BB Muffin is still one of the better mids, but do I think he's been outright the best mid in the league where he should be that because we've lost Air and we've lost BZ? I don't think so. So I think that Rise overall, they've still got a few things to sort out for playoffs. I mean, I'm a big fan of Tweak. I'm a bit of a Tweak sim. I think Tweak has played pretty well. But I think when he's given, like, I think about again that Inkwick game, he's playing Pantheon. He's playing Pantheon versus a bunch of champs that destroy Pantheon past 20 minutes, and he tries to get stuff done, and then they end up running it down into the enemy team at a dragon fight. And I just think that if they can get it together, there's a chance. Belfast has looked phenomenal, though. Other than that first week slip-up, Belfast have been an incredibly strong team. I do think they're not unbeatable. I think Raider and Roulette have looked really, really good, Raider especially, but I don't think they're unbeatable. I think Limsy, Fuyu, and Little Pants sometimes get away with a little bit of murder, honestly, in these games. Where I think Limsy is able to get Azir like every game and just sit there and scale into being Azir. And then Fuyu and Little Pants, you saw it in the game versus the last game of the split of the round robin.
It's completely ridiculous.
Yeah, like the round robin game, the game versus Gucci early on. Let's not talk about the end of that game, maybe. But the beginning of that game looked pretty good for Gucci, and that was often coming through playing through the bot side and getting kills on bot side and kind of ignoring Raider in some way. And I wonder if there's like with swaps, meta, and things, maybe there's a chance of punish here. But I mean, Belfast has just been phenomenal, haven't they? Like, what Rise gonna do? I don't know. I don't even know what Rise do. Like, I can't even think of a game plan here because Aniki's been amazing, and Sin will be annoyed with glazing Aniki again, but. What do you do against Raider?
He should play better. I don't know. But like, to be fair, Sin has been doing pretty well. But like, we've had quite a lot of, I think, like people like Spark and Sin, and Fuyu. We've had a lot of these games where we have some really good AD carries who, if you set them up, you give them like a kill or two out of lane in mid game, and you walk them into a team fight with some friends, like they will just deliver. I think we have a lot of AD carries like that right now, which is good. But for like the problem that Belfast had in like that first game, really just felt like. It was just like a warm-up game. It just looked like they weren't all the same page, like they weren't communicating as well. So like when Raider's splitting, he gets caught as opposed to backing off at the right time, as opposed to getting rotations when he needs them. They're just like making some bad calls. But then as soon as they just got on the same page, it seems like we saw X7 fail to utilize Raider very obviously, right? Like a high-powered roster, super team as it were, same idea, but they never managed to put it together. Belfast Storm started putting it together after one game, and when you have the Raider effect on the other side of the map that you can talk to and that you can move around properly, this is what it should have been the whole time. This is what he should have always been delivering, and it maybe is just the fact that these other 4 players are like able to
shout at Roulette, right?
Utilize it.
Because Roulette, after that first game, he played like a terrible Viego game. I'm not going to beat about the bush. The very first game they played against Dissolved was like he did like under 9,000 damage on Viego. He had no setup, but it was like it was like the Bandits formula of 4 carries and a rel. And in the end, Roulette has gone, okay, I actually want to win some games here in the UKL, and he's dropped to playing. You know, he played an Ivan game, which is one of his specialties. He's played Jarvan, he's played Nocturne, he's basically gone through the motions of playing the non-carry junglers. It isn't like Raid and Roulette have come in, and they are ERL 1 level players. I don't think that's a doubt in my mind. And I think they come in and they could have easily gone, well, I'm just going to play what the hell I want to play. I was about to swear there, actually. I'll play whatever I want. I'll do what I want. And they haven't gone for that, Roulette. And Raid, to be honest, even then he's picked like the Mundo in that last game. They've not all completely gone, I'm going to 1v9 on Fiora every single game. I'm only going to play Darius. I'm only going to play my Evelyn, which is another Roulette special.
That was after they, I think, quintuple banned him in that game, and then forced him to go to Mundo.
That is true. But I just think that overall, the fact that Roulette's happy to sacrifice some of that personal agency to make sure Roulette gets a lead and make sure they're winning games is really important. I do think Limsy as well being able to basically get a 0 every game is like kind of low-key exploitable, because I think he has a good Ori, but he does play Azir pretty much. I would love to see his stats, actually. How many games he's got on unique champions, because pretty soon he's only played Azir pretty much for most of the split.
It's such a change from every other Limsy team, and we can think of a few other strong ones in 4 Nations. You mentioned X7 Trajan, where you need to throw 5 bans at 2 players, and that's always been Limsy on Limsy's teams. It isn't Limsy on this Belfast Storm team. That degree of freedom, I think, has been... if not enjoyed in person, which I think it has, it's certainly been enjoyed getting these team comps together.
I mean, Azir makes everything easy, doesn't it? They slam it first pick, by the way. They literally go, okay, they slam it B1. They go, well, I don't want to play Varus, because if you ask any player what should be B1 here, they always go, could my ADC play Varus, please? Like, that's what they do. But they just slam the Azir instead, and it's perfectly fine. He's happy to play into most matchups. And it's not enough to smash Limsy in lane. It's not enough to have a good laning phase and punish Limsy because of the fact that Raider is just like inevitable force. Unless I do think teams should be learning swaps. I do think swapping against him could be a massive punish here. And if you have competent bot lanes, if you are ahead of the macro game, which I think you can be actually against Belfast, I think you can, because I think Belfast have been so good at just playing standard. I think you could probably go down the aspect of let's perma swap, play with like a Jinx, play with like an scaling ADC. Let's not give Raider the space to be able to play those 1v1s. I think there's a route there, but overall, if you play them at their game, you're going to lose against this current Belfast roster. But I don't feel like most of the other players. I feel like we have to look at Raider. Like there's the games where he just played Darius. He's just like 1v9ing in a team fight. He like one-shots every one of the enemy team, and it's like, okay, brilliant. Like, what did Fuyu do this game? What did Little Pants do this game? Well, I mean, they probably got in the Bandits game. They got one-shot by LeBlanc. Excellent. Like, I mean, it's that's the kind of thing that we're seeing coming out of the Belfast roster at the moment.
I think it goes the other way though, right? Trajan, what would be your way for Rise through this matchup as we're gonna move on after?
So I think that it is worth. So the question of like, is it worth banning like the one guy and dropping all your bans on one guy? When they tried to do it in the last game, or when Gucci tried to do it in the last game, and they quintuple banned him, and he picks Mundo, and he's still Flame Horizons, right? But I don't think in that game, I don't think Raider was the reason that game was won, right? I think he was getting up in CS against like an Ornn or something, and it's
Sion,
like, okay,
a
Sion, right? Like literally, who cares? It literally doesn't matter. And if Chi was able to hold their nerve, not botch the mid game transition, they'd actually have like a fed Yunara who can deal with that, who can deal with them. I don't care if the Mundo's got 100 CS. Like if the team plays properly around it, I think they were almost there if they hadn't botched it. So I think getting Raider off the carries can be a way to at least he's gonna win the lane, fine.
Yeah.
Pick something that can lose to him gracefully, and then try to play around the rest of the map. And I think that just about worked for Gucci, and it should have worked if they hadn't dropped it. So Rise, I think when they do have really strong, if BB's on form, really strong mid lane matchup. If Sin and Jamsu on form, really strong 2v2 bot lane. You can have two other lanes that can actually win and basically scale up to be, okay, now Raider has been let onto the rest of the map, but we're also 4-0. And we'll just out carry you. We'll beat you here. So I think that trying to neutralize Raider in that way might actually be a good way to approach this. And I think that Rise actually have the tools to still use that as a strategy. Theoretically, Gucci, right, we're probably thinking the same thing, right? Rush, very, very strong mid laner. Maro, when he's like, on form, when he's fed, when he's got like a carry that he can be protected with, can carry games. I think it almost worked for them, and it could work for Rise.
All right. I see that as a path through. I'm not going to push you both for a prediction because I think the giant in the room that Goliath B and David have to fight down is pretty obvious. We're going to go for percentages. We should percentage odds and maybe a match score because we are on best of 3 now. Full fearless, so there might be some crazy picks in game 1 to try and knock Raider down. I don't think we're going to go full Baus, but I think how many could you jam into one? We could do like Darius, Volibear. What else is high on that list of 1v1 me, even if it's not necessary.
So they were banning Olaf against him as well.
Yeah, Olaf.
Jax.
I think it's so hard to I mean, percentages. For me, man, I want to say 2-1 Belfast Storm, but I think it's 2-0 Belfast Storm. Because the more I think about it, the more I think there's just like, where is the like squeeze in the pool coming from Fearless? I don't think it exists.
Yeah.
Like realistically,
means there will be a non-Azir game for Limsey.
Non-Azir, but his Oriana's still really good.
He's still fantastic.
Good Talia. Like I think that he just plays a mage and he's just happy. And then it comes from Rice. Like, how consistent is Rice at smashing that bot side of the map?
Yeah.
And it's difficult to really say. I really want to give a game to Rise here. I really, really, really want to.
But it's low percentage chance it's happening.
It's like a really low percentage. It's like Rise taking this is like a 5%, then more than 10%. And I think Rise taking a game is like a 20%. Because I think, weirdly enough, if Rise take a game, I think Rise obviously have a significantly higher chance of winning. That's obviously how it works. But I think that like suddenly it goes much higher up chance of winning the series just because I think that Belfast they might have figured out the way to beat Belfast, if that makes sense. Like, I think their win will come off of figuring out how to beat Belfast, and that might lead to another win.
So I'll be finding the formula. Trajan, what are your percentages?
Yeah, I think I'm with Rob. I think it's like 90-10 on the series win.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I think I wanted to again give them a game or give them a higher thing, but that's like my idealized version of Rise that's in my head. That I
Yeah.
don't think is actually the Rise that's on the Rift currently.
Have we checked
And
Jamsu's match history?
what to
Because if
see
he's
what
is he playing Valorant? Like, what is Jamsu doing? Because that's the big thing. That is genuinely
Not what Champsy's playing. Is he
'Cause you're
playing Peak? You know, like
you're,
is he just
you're
not?
sitting there saying like about the bot lane, right? Like, and it's like Sin and Jamsu should match to you, little pants. But if
Oh,
Jamsu's
dear.
not playing and he's talking to the Valorant honeys or something, like that is
Yeah.
like that's the problem.
Maybe
That
that's
is
the
the
practice
issue.
he needs. Leona ult is on a much lower cooldown in that game. That's all I'm saying.
Are you saying that only women only play support temporal? Is that
No,
what you're
no,
saying?
I'm saying there's an AoE stun that comes down on the map that is not necessarily an ultimate, and you can cast it a bit quicker.
Okay. I thought you were talking about how he got advice from the Valorant honeys about how to play Leona. That's what I thought you were saying.
Maybe they have the source. Maybe they have the source. In any case, Belfast
I don't know.
heavily favored. I think it's fair. I'm gonna go 75% for Belfast Storm. I think Rise can, take the time because we have been off for a few days. Maybe try and download Belfast Storm a little bit. I think it's not a case of break bot lane. You really do have to suppress the solo lane sufficiently. It's not an easy task. Belfast have had a week in which to get creative with making sure that doesn't happen. And they have a fallback in a best of 3, so it's going to be real hard to take them down.
Yeah.
Let's continue in the upper bracket. I'm sure we've got a lot to say about Inkquick, and we've also probably got a decent amount to say about Broad and Friends. Rob, start us off. Vibes, upper bracket, these two teams.
I think Inkquick are frauds.
Well,
They,
they went from
I
like
think they're-
5-1 to 5-4 or something, right?
I
Aren't they
think
on
they're
everyone else?
fraudulently in the upper bracket. I mean, I might get the ire of everyone who likes the old school class of UK League of Legends, but I think the Rise completely griefed the draft completely, and I think the Broad Broad were 10k gold up. They didn't have Porp again in that game. They had Mr. Beast, Bendy Beast himself, Crisis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
so what you're
And I
saying
think-
is Bendy Beast up against Mr. Tickle is not a fair match.
Bendy Beast in.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm
I just
saying,
think the reason I say they're fraudulent is because I think that who is playing in that game? Because Dragdar's still on the bench, Yusa's still on the bench. Their wins come from Dragdar or Yusa bot lane. And if they have their regular roster, they don't win games.
I mean,
And that's
they
the
won
fact,
a
that's
lot
the
more games with the regular roster than I thought they would.
2, because they had Yusa for 2 games.
That's a
Dragdar-
lot more than I thought they would.
That's more than people were giving them.
I thought we were going to see, like, Notley rattling the cage as his teammates are like, oh, I'm not sure what to do. Should we let him out?
Yeah, I think I think that they're just a bit fraudulent in the upper bracket in the sense of I think teams that they beat, like they should be beating, Paragon, right? No offense to them.
Sorry,
I
sorry,
feel like
Paragon.
the Fallen
probably
Soldiers,
should have been beating
but like
Paragon, but
they should be beating these teams, but they lost to Good G in their very first game, which was their regular roster. And then they're like, they then should have lost to Broad and Friends, like 100%. If you go back and watch that game, please, me and Jay were casting that game. Please go back and watch it.
I
And
think
tell me
I dessed
Inkquick
that
win
one.
that game.
That was some refuse to lose, like grit of the teeth, fingernail holding on to the rock, sort of.
That was also Broad
surviving.
throwing it though.
Yeah,
Broad's
yeah.
they got caught out multiple times. Like
Yeah.
the big thing that sounds to me is Zeta standing in that bush as Alistair 1v5. It's like things you can't be doing when you're trying to close out a 10k gold lead. That kind of stuff. And I think that Inkquick probably shouldn't have won that game, so they should be 4-5. In which case, if they are 4-5, by the way, they're rocketing down here. They're not second seed. If they lose that one game that we feel they should, they lost to Absolve, they lost to Gucci, so they would be down significantly lower in the standings.
They
could
would
be
have
7th or
entered
8th.
that
the bandits
massive
as
tie.
Well,
Yeah, and like,
yeah.
so I think that Inkquick overall, they lost to Absolved on the final day as well. I think they're a bit fraudulently a second seed here, to be honest with you. And I think that in a best of 3, well, honestly, I think on most days, even in best of 1, I think Broad should take this 10 out of 10. If it's if it's main roster versus main roster, if Dragdar's playing, I think it actually slightly changes. If it's if you put Curb and Dragdar, maybe there's a chance. But I think Inkquick are massively fraudulent currently. And
Do you think they do it if they were threatened in the lower bracket? Do you think they pull Yusa or Dragdar, whoever's around?
Well, enough, if it's Dragda, I think if they want to get to finals and they want to play on stage again, I think Curb wants to. Curb stuck around. I think Curb really wants to get back. He clearly enjoyed himself in Stoke, which is a sentence no one has ever said.
The first man ever to enjoy himself in
their
Stoke,
entire life.
And he's like they're definitely putting the most of a shift in for Inquick over the whole split. Curb is really still doing Curb things, like on normal and off meta champs. He is really trying, and he's very valuable. Like he's very powerful up there. But
Nolties look good. Bot lane. If it's Arturia's Prosphere bot lane, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
But probably dog walk them out. But
yeah, I think like Spark Zeta should really put in a shift there. Inquick, they need to really show up quite special in this game to really like. I'm still really low on them, even though they are technically second seed tempo. I know I came into this split saying I had them really low, and I still have them really low because I feel like they should have lost to Broad, and they were given a win by Rising Draft. And then I think if you watch the rest of their games, they didn't look that solid even in their wins. I feel really bad for saying it.
That's the thing, right? I think a lot of things from the start of this split. The start of the split is functionally unrecognizable from the end of the regular season. Like Bandits from the start versus Bandits at the end.
Yeah.
Not the same team, right? Inquick from the start to the end, not the same team.
Chi Rise.
Chi Rise. Belfast lost the first game for absolutely zero. You know, like Venom Crest sneaks into playoffs, but they
somehow
went up and then down and then up and then ended down again. So I don't know where Venom Crest are right now, but what we thought was going to happen from like the first week of gameplay has almost completely diverged from where we've ended up here. Almost nothing has actually landed where we thought it was going to. So, and with Inquick, like I think Akers is not the guy who's going to get tripped by Kerberos being weird, or like he can match him mechanically, and I don't think he's going to get confused or bamboozled by Kerberos anyway. Like I think that QQR has actually been stepping up a lot recently, whereas he was kind of loose at the start. I think he was kind of exploitable, but he's still playing his normal picks, but he's not getting raged quite as much, and he's actually having some like, you know, MVP-ish games. If the broad roster wasn't so well balanced, I think we would have had at least one QQR MVP.
We did get QQR MVP.
Did we get one? That's
when
cool,
when he played Xerath. He played a Xerath game.
Right, okay, because I remember there was a Vygar game as well where, like, low-key, his stuns were the whole reason, like, every fight went so well, but that was like a Port, Akers, QQR, or Sparkle could have got it kind of game, you know?
Yeah.
Sorry, Zaya.
I've enjoyed Broad being wider.
Yeah, because that's what it should have been the whole time. It should have been, like, the best 5-stack, consistency-wise and multi-threat-wise. Like, that was the point, right? It's like the whole point of this thing, and we lost that over like the second half of last split, somewhere into the first half of this split, and now it seems like they're kind of back there again. The only worry I have for Broad, really, is sometimes I watch decisions that Port makes, and I go, what was the thinking behind that? And I think they get a little fraught sometimes in that decision-making. But when it's on, it's on.
Do we bring back the, you know, there's a switch and it's like X the best jungler, like quite good jungler in NLC ecosystem, and then we switch it down and it's 11th best UKL jungler. It's like, not again. No. I think...
Also, chat's put it out, by the way. Akers did play a game role swap to support, and that was when they lost to the Dogs.
Yeah, we had some adventures down there, didn't we?
So you could be talking about here, Broad could be our second seed we're discussing, right? You think about the loss to Inquick that shouldn't have been, lost to Dogs where they decided to let one of their, you know, they let a player think he was bigger than the club, and they let him choose what he wanted to do, and it didn't work.
And then they sent him to exile.
And then they sent to exile and brought Smee in, and you know they lost to they also lost to Chi as well. Don't forget that 3 out of 4 of these teams in the upper bracket all lost to good Chi somehow, which is hilarious when you think about it.
Yeah, definitely a Smee did nothing wrong moment though.
Yeah,
I don't blame Smee.
Sure.
He's lovely.
Yeah.
Andrew Smeeson himself. He's a lovely guy, but he just couldn't carry like Akers can, I guess. But no, I think Broad should. I want to point out here. This is a really important thing. If Broad, I believe. One of our stats, we have to back us up on this. If Broad win a single best of series, they are guaranteed RPS.
They're locked.
I think it'll be them, and then the
Venom Crest.
Do they occlude Belfast as soon as they win?
Yes, I believe.
Ooh.
If you
But
do the
Belfast
numbers,
have to win everything, and Broad have to lose everything.
yes.
Oh
If
my.
Broad win a
Belfast is legal.
single best of series, Broad are guaranteed RPS.
Context for this. I've read the same
Crest-
charts, but I do not pretend to remember all of those colored squares all at once. So I'm glad it's that simple.
Venom Crest are already guaranteed because they didn't go to relegations, and
That was
so
my
Don't
main
they have to win a
assumption.
game as well? Or
No,
'cause
no,
I thought
no,
they had
no,
to
but-
win one more regular season game, and then they never did. They were like 3-4 and went 3-6.
I'd have to check on. So I know for a fact if Broad, I'm pretty sure Venom Crest are guaranteed, and I'm pretty sure.
Maybe. Yeah.
I'm like 99% sure that Broad, if they win a series, they guarantee RPS as well.
Yeah,
Which is the big thing here is, I think, like Broad.
It might have been just because
they need to go
had to win
finals,
one
though, don't
game
they?
to not be 8th. They could
Yeah,
have come
like-
7th if they won a game, but now they're still, or like to be more than 9th, sorry.
Yeah.
But now
Yeah.
they ended up tie-breaking to 8th anyway, so it's fine.
The big thing for me with Broad is that the reason I say they have to go finals is for the pride of Gov and Emily. Like, I think if they, like, for me, this if there's ever a split for the Broads to have representation on the main stage, so to speak, because they never had that in Insomnia, did they?
Ooh.
I knocked him
This
out
is
in
the one.
I-71, mate. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I was
This-
the one who took him out of I-71.
This does feel like the one, right? All of the
They
threats
have
that
to.
have previously knocked them. Bandits, not there. Venom Crest look like they're having a shocker. Good Chi having a shocker. Bulldog are fake. Rise, I think Broad probably just takes them. We saw that happen, right? Broad just beat them in the 1v1. I think they just have a bit more quality there.
Yeah.
In quicker frauds, according to Rob. Paragon's not there. Belfast is the only other option, right? And Absolved, I think, just don't have the source. So, like, realistically, if you just run it down, Broad
This
should
is
be
their best
number
chance.
2. They should be number 1 threat going into finals against Belfast Storm, is how it appears now. This is the
We
time.
should see 40 Broads strong at the final, is what I'm saying. We should see their
All the
families and
friends
their
should be out.
their
Yeah.
ancestors should be there, hovering like ghosts on the
Like
stage.
spirit
Everyone
ghosts
should-
from Force Ghosts. Yeah, like
Yeah,
they should
exactly,
all be
like-
in the room.
I was thinking of bringing my family down to finals this time. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. If we could give them the Broad show, that would be 10 out of 10.
I'm bringing my wife down to finals this
Yo.
time. So
Look at this guy with his wife.
everyone has to put on a good show.
So, Broad, I'm hearing if you go to RPS without hitting the finals, that's pretty sad because we know that's not spawning into a warehouse with a stage anytime soon. The way it is.
Yeah, well, they're gonna get knocked out by Sweden anyway at RPS, so like that's what
We
happens.
gotta
to
get
everyone.
revenge
Broad.
against Bloodline
Classic
and
Broad.
slash whoever is good from Swedish Online League in these days because it's been brutal. It's been brutal the way those teams look pretty good, but we're feeling pretty good about it, and then we just get absolutely mollied.
I tried, okay. I tried Temporal, okay. When it was that RPS, I tried against Bloodline. It was close enough. Don't remind me. I still have
Close
trauma.
enough. What's the Broad mantra?
It was
Close enough.
pretty
yeah,
traumatic.
let's-
Rob was in the trenches. I was in the caster booth. It was not an enjoyable. not
A
an
reverse
enjoyable
sweep
time.
that is predicted by their support after game 2 is nothing. He tweeted at me.
Don't,
Not me, he
don't
tweeted at
open the
Paragon.
social media. We must be
Oh, yeah,
disciplined.
socials.
We must be
Brothers
disciplined.
with Socials.
Broad
Like-
have got to go finals this split. They have to. They have to make it. It's the easiest split for them to make it. In my
If it's the
opinion. There's no
one,
running-
it's this one.
There's
They've
no
just
point.
they've also got to be disciplined. I think we got to see it through. I understand Ak is moving down to support. You feel top laner, you move down into support role. There's this other person hitting the minions for you, so that's half your responsibilities removed. And now you get 2 people to annoy PvP. That's double the fun of the fun bit of top lane. So it feels really good. And then you can roam. Someone else will get the experience. Great time. Menacing time. But we got to see the finals for Broad. I agree. I want it to be this one. I want it to be special. I've seen Ruddy are pulling out their jersey. If Broad show up with a jersey and stage presence before Ruddy gets anything, like those
what I
2 homegrown orgs in my UK and Irish heart, I will be so
Yeah.
impressed.
I want to see Gov streak on the stage. I
Oh,
wanna see...
I can't say yes, but cool.
Yeah, legally we cannot say
Legally,
yes. We
for
want to
legal
see
reasons,
that.
we can't.
Please
say,
don't do this, but also
These are my
security.
views of my own. These do not represent the 4 Nations by UKL broadcast. This is simply Rob at Arloeth on Twitter. His belief that he wants to see Gov strip and run on stage naked.
So.
And I think,
but
that
in a not naked way.
but in a not naked way. I also want to point out, Akers tried to do what Zeta actually did, didn't he?
Yeah.
Alphamos or Zeta did role swap from top to support.
He was so good at top lane.
Starting in that
yeah.
RPS, actually. Starting in that RPS when he played on Lions Creed at the time. Or ex-Lions Creed, I believe they had to be called in that tournament.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And basically, Akers failed at doing what Zeta managed to do. So it turns out he's not even the best top laner on his team. But no, I think Broad I think Broad are gonna do it. I mean, what's your Trajan? Have you got any thoughts on Inquick here as opposed to Broad? Come on, you got.
I think we got to go back to percentages to contrast the annihilation of game one, because we feel pretty good, right? But I'm not sure it's 90% good.
No, this isn't 90%. No, for sure. Like I think that because Broad just 2 weeks ago were looking like disconnected, didn't know what they were doing. Like they were Spark was putting up numbers, but that was the only thing that really stayed consistent throughout the bad times. And I think that if Broad have actually gotten back to where they were, they're obvious easy favorites, and it's 2-0 like 80%. But like to give an understanding that has not been what they've shown us all the split, we maybe drop it to like 70, because like Inquick does have just a sense about them that, again, they can switch on and they can just knuckle into a really muddy, messy game and actually scrap their way out of it just because of like the experience that they have. And they do have players like Kerberos who can actually be like a difference maker on stage, and has proven to, even this split, has still been able to do that. So I still feel very confident about Broad in this match, but definitely not nearly as much as Belfast. And I think, yeah, probably like 70-30 Broad, and that's like a 2-0. And I don't think it's I think it really relies on just if Broad show up.
Rob, higher or lower?
Shirts tucked
Higher
in.
or lower? Shirts tucked in, buttons done up.
It depends on the port for me that shows up, weirdly enough, because I think the best, most consistent.
Yeah.
Kerber's been putting in a shift. I think Nolte has been really. I honestly underrated him coming into this split. I think he's been a phenomenal jungler split. I know he's technically retired. I would love for these old guard to be happy to go on to like. There's a lot of good people in the scene now. I really hope that if they don't continue on Inquick, and as we go to 2026, hope some of them stick around and are happy to play in a more chilled environment where we're all friends and happy and smiley, I guess. And
there's the duality to it, right? I'm struggling.
Nolte is. Sorry, you continue.
No, sorry. I'm struggling to think of a name, but I'm sure this has happened in the last 2 years, where like we've had a bit of a, let's call it a boomer core of friends from the day come back, and then a few of them like, well, our opponents were like pretty good. I had fun playing against that team. My role on that team is now vacant. Maybe we combine forces.
I know Kerb enjoys it. He looked like he was having the time of his life, honestly, live on stage in Stoke. He did look like he was really enjoying himself. He looked so happy. I just want them to stick around, but I don't think they're winning this series. And I don't want. I just want to have the UK scene come back together as a. I want unity. I want to bring it all together.
Candidate.
But it is like a 65-35. It just depends on what Port wakes up like in the morning, to be honest with you. Because Nolte could have his way with him. To be honest, Nolte's had a phenomenal split, but it's Broad. It's got to be Broad. Up the Brody. 65-35, and it's a 2-0 for me again.
I'm on a similar sort of vein where I think, you know, it's Broad favored, but I have to respect the absolute machine that Mr. Tickle himself, that Nolte has brought back this split. He's an absolute machine. I think the 1v5 award, like, should we give it? I don't think we did a regular season MVP. I think voting open for that soon. For those who are in a position on a team or on a broadcast crew, there we go, to vote on such a thing. We need to get that out. I'll get that out soon. An exciting time, but yeah, certainly someone who has put in an incredible hour. I want to say 2-1 because I think Broad's like Belfast week 1 game might happen here if we are going to see finals. Like the wake up call is like now. Not sure who it's coming towards, not sure where it's coming from, except that Nolte will probably be swinging the hammer. Whoever is vulnerable to it.
As well, by the way, I called them out for not playing solo queue. I was meant to bring this up because I have to fall on my sword here before playoffs. Beely right now is sat at 600 LP.
Ooh!
So Beely has been, so this is the thing that I wanted to bring up very quickly because I will put my hands up. I don't think they're in chat, and I know Prosper. He said to put them low. Nolte had like peaked this, but he wasn't playing ranked either. I think he peaked roughly at like 600 LP as well this split. So these players have come back and they've clearly shown their love for the game and come back and grinding the game. And I just wanted to shout that out because I think if they were still, my caveat on them performing was them playing the game, and that sounds so stupid. Playing the game of League of Legends, if they logged into the client, maybe they'd do well. But they've actually shown up in ways, not more than just in comp. Like Beely has been grinding comp, great win rates and stuff like Aurora. Nolte's been grinding comp, or I don't say grinding. They're not playing thousands of games.
Yeah.
But they're not sat in D2. You know, they're actually putting in a shift.
I feel personally seen as someone who's 40 games D2 and does not want to touch that with a barge pole. But I think things are getting better.
I think it's important to shout it out that they have been putting some time in. And again, come and speak to some people on some other team. Let's bring the community together. This is my pitch for president, for the UK League of Legends president. Let's bring the groups together. Let's combine. You know, Broad have tried to do it. They brought some people on board. I love having these old guard back and seeing UK talent coming back to the scene.
As far as we know, the Champions League is coming. Great to send some UK and Irish clubs from here and now off into the NLC. Would be the dream. Okay, we're gonna move on. Upper bracket, exciting. We're pretty confident in our predictions. However, should things start to go sideways, it's gonna go sideways real fast. No pressure, Broad. We're gonna bring it back over to our bracket screen, and we're gonna move our gaze down into the lower bracket. Match 3 first, Absolved versus Venom Crest. Both of these teams have had sort of, like we mentioned, there's a curve. Venom Crest's more violent and oscillating, I think it's fair to say, than Absolved's. I think Absolved have generally impressed me, but sometimes either through draft, either through a little bit of late game execution, which they normally drift towards, compared to teams like your Rise, like your Belfast in their wins. I don't know if they've sort of got what it takes. Is it just the Emil show? Is it just 4 wards?
So good.
Are we doing the reverse bandits, where it's like 4 engage pieces for 1 carry instead of 4 carries and Rel crying?
1 engage piece. Emil is so... I mean, you saw it in that final game against Inkquick. He was like, I would like to win a game of League of Legends today. I have logged in to beat Inkquick. And, like, I think that Emil has been... He was phenomenal. I believe he played on... He's played for Lions Creed in the past. I'm trying to remember the other teams he's played for. But he's been sat there in Div 2, but he is a player that... You know, he's been hovering around like 800 LP GM for a while. He is a very, very solid player. This isn't just some random that got picked up out of nowhere. This is someone that had played in like NLC Div 2 and things like this. This guy's a really good player. And I think that it's a hard call, right? I need to know, Fraser is usually watching if Fraser's still benched. Because I think what roster Venom Crest send out to me, weirdly enough, dictate how I predict this.
It is really bad stream etiquette to go through your chat list and see who's there. Phrase, if you want to throw a comment on it, I see you are actually in Twitch chat.
Brother, you benched or what? Like,
they were playing with SVM or whatever, how you say the German jungler's name, Lagia.
Yes.
They were playing with him in the last couple games with Alessio in support. Alessio previously being the AD carry of Nuclear Vikings last split, but is a AD carry / support player, so it isn't that surprising he's playing support for them. I just wonder what rosters he's okay. He had a funeral versus Bulldogs. Says Phrase in chat.
Well, so he is back. Funeral versus Bulldogs.
So it's not the broad exile, but you know.
Yeah, it's not.
Life matters.
You know, yeah, exactly. Of course, but I think if you got Phrase back, I still have concerns about Venom Crest in the consistency aspect. About how they, you know, I assume Ketso is the starting mid now, and Galul is not playing again. I assume Ketso was brought in as a starter. I just have a few concerns about the consistency of Venom Crest. Like we saw them when they lost to Bulldogs, it was like a 60-minute barn burner.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get Fraser's information because the problem with Venom Crest is they play a different roster pretty much every damn week. And so I don't even know who's playing for them, and that changes who you predict and what your analysis is on this.
To add to the nebulousness, they have not yet submitted their roster.
So according to Fraser's unofficial confirmation in the chat, it's going to be the main roster, which I think hopefully Blizzard gives the most data to talk about these players
okay,
from.
Matthew's on support. Okay, yeah.
And because I would be shocked if they had swapped that out, because I think Chris Berg and Matthew was like far and away the high point here, right? So I don't get it. This is one of those rosters where, you know, when people always use that kind of spawns like the super team, not saying this is a super team, but like back when everyone like, oh, you put these 5 players together, they're all good to really good to great, and it just doesn't work. And I just don't get it, man. Why can we not put it together? Ketsuo is not even, because Ketsuo used to play more kind of carry oriented way back in the day, but is playing like meta, supportive, whatever the team needs. Refresh is just playing Refresh. He's getting jacks like every game. He's playing Refresh jabs every game. Phrase is still doing the same stuff. Chris Berg and Matthew are really good. Why are we not winning games? Why do we lose to Bulldog? Like, what? Hello?
In a 60-minute game as well. Like,
I really don't.
Yeah,
when you go late, why are you losing the clutch late games against Bulldog? You should be better at that stage of the game. That's when it counts, right? You should have the experience should be on your side here. But I don't get it, man.
Playing. Phrase wasn't playing.
Literally, right?
I blame Phrase for having that feud. No.
No, we hope you're okay, Fraser.
We hope you're okay.
Is as good as it
real
can
life
be.
happens. Real life happens. I think that Venomcrest is a very hard thing to rate, because I also think that you're taking these individual pieces, and I don't know. I had questions about how they mashed together. I remember going all the way back, the preview show me and Temporal and Harold did. I didn't have Venomcrest particularly highly, and that's only because I didn't know how the pieces would interact with one another, and I still see that issue. I also have questions about Absolved and who they're playing in AD carry, because Muta was their starter, and then they've swapped over to having Lifestyle. I'm calling him out for calling himself Gabby. Lifestyle has been playing ADC for them, and he is a phenomenal ADC as well. So I wonder who is, and like Darkin's been playing jungle instead of Tea Time in the last few games. So I think that does change some of like what happens with Absolved as well. Because I think Lifestyle has been really good when he's got like the Aphelios. He just stands still and kills everyone.
He's great as like the insurance policies. The second tap, you know, you have to throw so much ML, which is why I think it's great you highlight Darkin in jungle as well, because the guy instantly demands a Fiddlesticks ban. We have not seen it in the jungle yet. However, we have seen what he can do in the bot lane with it after multiple nerfs to Fiddlesticks. Was it the weeks or literally the days before that game? It was a little while ago now, so I've forgotten. But I was like, yeah, like this has been nerfed a few times. He just absolutely styles on his first substitute game in support. And, like,
against Belfast.
It's beautiful.
It's crazy.
Absolutely beautiful.
If Darkin's playing, I actually really think Tea Time, from what I'd watched of when he was coaching DMG/DMG, was it Sweden? Which one did he coach? DMG Denmark? I'm trying to remember. He coached one of the DMG sub-teams. Wasn't the UK one. It was a different one. Before he joined Jungler for DMG UK and Div 2, and then eventually Absolved. And I think, weirdly enough, if Darkin's starting and then you put Tea Time in a coaching role where he can fully focus on prep and things like this, I think, weirdly enough, that might be the best setup for Absolved. Because I just think that Tea Time, he looked like he had a lot of a good head on him for the coaching side of things, at least from the feedback I'd heard from some of the teams. And I think that the issue that with teams that don't have these coaching staff, like having done my personal trawl through every team to see who doesn't have coaches now, Absolved don't have one at the moment. And I think that when you're going to playoffs, having prep for a fearless best of 3, having someone to sit down individually and go, okay, what are we doing in game 2 and game 3, rather than going into them being like, oh no, like it's actually very helpful. Having that someone to sit there and actually watch your VODs beside, you know, playing the game. If that's the case, I liked how Darkin was playing in their last 2 games on Absolved, actually. I think him on Trundle, I think he actually adds a really solid element. I think that, I mean, the chat will say that they're all part-time coaches. Well, you need a full-time coach
maybe
to
a
take
full-time
one.
Emil says his 4 engaged pieces are his coaches.
Too many cooks spoil the broth, as they like to say. So you need one direction to go in. And if you solidify that roster, and I don't really care who's your jungler, whether it's Tea Time or Darkin, both of them have their positives and negatives. But I actually think Absolved a decent team. I think they all rally around Emil, but they are really decent.
Yeah.
It's a hard call. I don't know what you guys are thinking. I really struggle with calling this one because Venom Crest, I've not been convinced, I'll be honest.
I think Venom Crest have got the uphill battle, right? I think Absolved are on the uptick, and Venom Crest, like Trajan mentioned, have struggled again at the end of regular season. And it will be effort in the extreme to like reverse that and push it back. It's good to have like the sixth person who's independent and like ready, so hopefully they do have like one of the junglers set up that way, or they have it like a good working relationship where it's not like fighting for start and like slinging arrows at each other, and it is like the cool, calm, everyone in the room like has one objective. It is do not lose one of these best of threes and maybe we'll make it. Especially if you like pick up a wins against like a Rise or an Intquick or a Broad who's like reeling from a bad situation. There's definitely like ground to be covered there that is not out of Absolved, or even I think on their best day Venom Crest's wheelhouse.
Yeah,
I'm going Absolved here, I think.
Yeah,
ABV
favored. I think it more 60-40, not because I don't think the favor is strong, but because I think Venom Crest are back against the wall.
I feel like I'm just blinded by what Venom Crest feel like they should be, and just refuse to be at this point. And it just feels like so bonkers to me that some of these players, and even like, you know, we talk about the value that the bot lane brings, and you know, the history, like Refresh I think has at least one, if not a final, then a title under his belt.
They have a title on Verdant,
right?
yeah, they won Verdant.
And like, and FaZe is currently back-to-back jungle champion that no one ever seems to give him much credit for some reason. Like, what? I'm just trying to work out if my gut thinks that this is the time that they pull it together or not, because I don't have like a
to incredibly increase your confidence. Emil says voting for Absolved is based, and Frey says I'm voting for Absolved.
You shout out Refresh also is the only player left of the team that went the furthest ever for a UK team at RPS in recent memory, so he is someone that has a history in comp. Depends if he locks in. I think that as a player, Refresh can be quite good. We talk about that final where he won on Verdant. I'm not going to lie to you, if you go back and watch that, Akka's kind of put Refresh in the dirt, and then the rest of Ruggy got completely destroyed by the rest of Verdant. Yeah. But I casted that one with Drake, actually. I think it was an interesting final. But I think that Venom Crest, you can look at the names. I think Absolved just have... I said this, I voted for Absolved versus Intquick on the very first final day, and I was the only one to vote Absolved, and obviously because I'm the... I'm not quite J-Real levels of Profit, but, you know, I'm obviously close. They obviously picked that one up. But I think that Absolved have better macro. I think Absolved, they should have a more... like, the way they play is more solid. In terms of, they have they say the entire team is part-time coaches. I think it does show in how they play the game. I think they look really solid in terms of the non-hands parts of the game. I think generally they don't make too many terrible decisions. That's not saying they're the most amazing team at it all the time. I just think that overall you're not going to get 60-minute games coming out from Absolved compared to what we saw with Venom Crest and Bulldog. And I think Absolved
I want to cut away.
It's like 55-45 to me for Absolved, but it is leaning Absolved.
Like, just take a minute. If you're watching this on the VOD, just scroll back and look at Trajan's camera in the last few minutes. Like, Venom Crest, look at what you've done to our boy. This is so gut wrenching. This is a difficult lower bracket matchup.
I think I'm still giving it Venom Crest 2-1.
Oh, vote of confidence for the Greens. You reckon it's just the clutch or kick factor, and now there's no one else left to kick?
I think it's just that. I think it's just clutch or kick. I think it's main roster back in there, and I think that for all the reasons that have been stated, there's not a 2-0 coming down the pipe, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think that Venom Crest lose. I just don't think they do.
Blind faith is this man's analysis. Blind faith and belief in the Snakes.
That has helped me very much in my prediction of the LTA South this week so far. I've been rewarded for my blind faith time and again. So, you know,
Okay.
I'm on a streak right now in terms of gut feeling.
Can't argue with it. Can't argue with it. I think still absolved for me. I'm thinking maybe a 2-1. I think Venom Crest have got some bite in them. We'll have to see how far that bite goes, because it's really difficult to tell. Both of these teams have potentially a lot to gain. I think, I think I mentioned at the top of this point that the rest of the lower bracket in front of them is going to be fraught with people who felt maybe they should have won, or maybe had a very good regular season, and stand to lose potentially a lot. Let's bring the bracket back over, because we've got one more game in our first round. Our 6th and 7th seed, Bulldog Academy versus Good Chi. So, we can't mercilessly tease Rob too much, but this is 6 and 7. This is fine. This is completely fine.
Dude,
I think we have not got a bigger submarine that lurks in the water, not doing a lot, and then completely obliterates someone with no warning than Bulldog Academy.
Why is that? Can someone explain to me why that is?
I think they lock in. They lock in.
It's weird, right? They had
They just lock in, and occasionally they get Heimerdinger, but they lock in.
They had Pivotal, who got them 2 wins, and they went off to LPL LOL in Portugal or something.
Yeah. He's in Twitch chat every match, by the way, cheering.
Yeah, I know. Respect. No, I want to say, firstly, shout out to Coach Jolly. No Jolly outs here. Coach Jolly obviously looking phenomenal. But no, they got 2 wins off of Pivotal, and then they got 2 more wins later in the split. And the Dogs are a hard one to rate because, I mean, firstly, this bracket is we're trying to discuss this bracket with analysis. If you look at the damn scoreboard from the round robin, the worst team went 3 and 6, which is pretty uncommon when it comes to 10-team leagues.
Yeah.
Where we sit there and complain about there not being UK talent, and suddenly we've got 10 teams all competing. Like, even until the last day, other than the Bandits, everyone was still in contention.
There's 2 wins between 2nd and 10th. That's crazy.
I love this format.
It's so unusual. Usually you do get a definitive, like, until that last day, it was something like any team pretty much could have gone anywhere between like 2nd and 9th, roughly. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, Broad could have gone from 9th to 2nd in one day.
And I think and obviously it's in your own hands. I think that the Dogs, I still had that prophetic vision of them getting top 6 again, and they got 6. They snuck in. They beat Venom Crest on that day as well, which I think that they just have this like never say die attitude that has come down. Like, they are very scrappy, they are very scruffy, which makes sense for the Dogs to be that way, but they're just such an, I don't know how they play in best of series. That's the other thing as well that I really have a concern for me, and it's Mike in mid lane, because he has such a small pool of champions that I am confident on him playing in comp that I don't know how he does in even a game 3. Because he has Heimerdinger, he has Quinn, which we still have not seen the Quinn. I think maybe once in the past, but very rarely.
I think we saw it once in a previous split, and it wasn't.
In a previous split,
it wasn't super successful.
He's got Nico and Ari, and maybe Twisted Fate. I think Galio is also probably there, but these aren't champions that you go. Galio is like an answer, but you know what I mean. Like, it's not something you sit there and blind it every game. I just find it like Bulldog is such an odd team to play. I don't know how to rate their new jungler. I didn't know how to rate him when he first came into the league when I did my research on that player. He was like a 1000 LP jungler that was then demoted to D1. Like, what's happened there? You've got, obviously, I think Harry Carey in top lane, actually. It turns out that Sharpie was not the best top laner on his team. It was, in fact, his jungler. Harry Carey has been really solid. Really, really solid. I mean, even in the loss to Bandits, at least until he ulted on Shen incorrectly and lost the entire side lane, he actually was taking it to Lars in top. So I think Harry Carey's been really good. Their bot lane DD has impressed me beyond what I thought he could do. I'm not saying he's the best AD carry in the league. I'm saying I thought he would be bottom tier, and I think he's above bottom tier of ADC. And then in support, Kakashi either has a great game or looks like he's running it down. And there's no middle ground. And so Dogs are just such a difficult team to rate. You don't know who's gonna. I voted Bulldog would beat Bandits, then Bandits. I was about to say something very rude there. Bandits just.
Bandits turned it back on, right?
Yeah.
I don't think Fearless best ofs favor Bulldog, especially with the mid lane issue, when we're struggling to get Mike through a lane that just without disaster occurring, and there's only a few picks that we can really do that. I don't think Fearless lends itself well to this problem. I think that like the rest of the players clearly have at least a better baseline of quality, that individually they can find advantages, and they definitely have grit. I will not take that away from them. But for me, this feels so much like, good Chi, are you interested in winning the game now? Because here's Bulldog. Okay? Here's Bulldog you have Kurosh against Mike in a best of 3 Fearless format.
Our loss to
Are
them,
we ready to log on?
Our loss to them, we'd had Soren J subbing in mid, to be fair. So Kurosh now is back against
We got Kurosh
Mike.
now? Yeah?
We get Kurosh now.
So,
we have
same
Kurosh
question.
now.
Same question.
And should we also, I don't know if, can we talk about roster stuff, Temporal, or what are the rulings on, because it's been made public right now. The roster changes. They're on the public sheet.
And talk about them.
Okay, I was asking, because Gucci have signed Rhythm.
Venom Crest Rhythm previously, I think.
League MVP.
Venom Crest Rhythm.
He was on Verdant in the past and Venom Crest. MVP of the league.
If he's got titles, Hoover of the Farm and the Jungle, I think is the fairest. That guy picks up resources and swings them at 6 items real good.
Yeah.
So I think that you're suddenly telling me that your core roster is going to be your 2 carries are Kurosh Rhythm. Yeah. And then you've got a weak side top king in Loopy.
Yes.
Who solo killed Lars twice in the game versus Bandits despite the lot. You know what I mean? Like Loopy has quietly been quite decent this split, and it's not, as much as Bloxer likes to complain about Loopy's Urgot, it's not only on Urgot that he's performing. No. He's played a good Cassandre, he's played Renekton, he's played I can tell you from behind the scenes, he's learning a bunch of other champs as well. I was not going to leak what champ that is, but he is someone who will put in the time to learn those new champions. And so you've now got your Loopy as your solid weak side top laner. You've got Kurosh in mid, who is a perennial champion. You've got Rhythm in bot, who is the champion of the league. And then you've got the pieces around that. And I think Chompy has actually been quite good. Usually, there's a few mistakes he has made. The Poppy charge, it just was clipped by someone in the... Is probably the one that stands out. But generally, Chompy's looked pretty good and I think pretty solid in the early games. So does Rhythm add another dimension to that, where you have more consistent bot lane performances? It's gonna. I'm biased, but I think Chi should. If Chi do not win this, this is. I don't know what to tell you. I genuinely don't know what to tell you.
Rhythm should at least spawn less baffling moments that Maro sometimes does. Like both of them, I think have more than enough hands for the arena that they're in. But we did have some baffling times from Maro, and Rhythm's not a guy who just makes egregious errors. Like maybe it was because he was never tested to the point where that was, came out, but at least not in Four Nations. But like, I just feel like as long as Chompy's, not taking too crazy of a swing at too many points, I expect this to just stabilize the bot lane without actually losing late game carry potential.
You saw the 2v2s early in the split with Maro Chompy 2v2.
They might lose a bit of that 2v2 threat, maybe. I don't think of Rhythm as like a 2v2 lane dominator, so they might lose a little bit of that, but they still have Kurosh, which is always going to be a strong lane. Loopy again is weak side, so the only way I think this maybe negatively affects them is if it takes a potential winning lane off the board. But this is against, again, this is against Bulldog Academy, guys. Guys, the Bulldog Academy do not win by crushing lane and snowballing clean victories. That's not how Bulldog win. You don't need to contest that, right? Like, it's...
But if you do, like, this might be the day. This might be the day where they've been blitzscribbled, they've played 20 laning phases.
Yeah, I love Bulldog. I love Jolly. I really do love the vibe of the never say die attitude. I love that Bulldog is providing me a secondary Brod, so to speak. You know,
I respect the support, the die-hard support that Bulldog drops every game, day in, day out. You have to respect that.
And I love what it brings, but I'm really sorry if I'm not going to make a bet because I know I'm going to have jinxed it, but I will be mortified if we lose this game versus against Bulldog. I will be.
Yeah.
You will see me on the next broadcast in tears. You'll be able to swim a boat through the river of my tears.
Still be crying.
I will still be crying. Yeah. That Froakie will become a Sobble instead because that will be. Yeah. I will be just floods. You'll hear the whole of Norfolk will be underwater. It will flood all the way down to Temporal and wash him away. Like it's gonna be a disaster. I don't see how it. I'm saying this now. Come on.
So here's the biggest problem with Good Chi, right? That I think we can all agree that we have suffered from the jungle somewhat, right? Mara's had his ups and downs, yes. Qualzy, these Talon games that are not turning into wins, they're not converting leads into wins. The pool seems to be really suffering right now. We're getting good starts and we're losing control of them, which we should not be doing this, right? That's just you're able to do. You've got the first steps done. You've got the 3k lead at 15 minutes, and yet we're still not.
Last split. It's the opposite of last split. Gucci were like, I can't play early game, don't know what that is, and then suddenly they could team fight okay. And then as this split, if you look at the early games remember they've beaten Inquick, they've beaten Rise, they've beaten Brod. They beat Paragon, and then the losses are to the bottom of the table. But they had good early games against Venom Crest, against against Bandits, where they were massively in the lead there, and against Bulldogs, Belfast, and Bulldog. And suddenly, I think Bulldog really was probably their worst early game in the regular split, actually. And I think that's just. It's just mind-boggling because usually that's the hard part. The hard part is getting those leads and getting into positions where you can win. And what I've done personally is I've gone to every player's keyboard and I've made sure their B button works.
Yeah.
Because that's the one thing
that actuates itself every 90 seconds without fail.
It's like that has been the problem. Is they get these the Belfast game. Go back and watch that. That is what probably the emblematic of it, right? Is they get this lead, they really heavily punish Little Pants and Fuyu overextending in mid lane. They get kills, they pick up Limsey, it's looking great, and then you cut back from a replay and it's like they're dying on Dragon when they should have reset and fought the Dragon up in items on unequal numbers. And I think that really is the problem. That there's just a case of not understanding that it's not your turn to play the game sometimes. And even if you're winning the game in terms of gold lead, if you haven't spent the money, you don't have the lead. And I think that's what we're seeing out of Chi. And if that is fixed by Rhythm coming in, for example, right? Like if Rhythm comes in and is one voice, you need one person to say recall now. Like that's it. Like press the B button.
Put the chickens down. The raptors are for later.
That's the thing is it comes across almost like a solo queue game sometimes where the leads are so good and then suddenly it's like, hey, it's time to throw at the objective. It's like
Purple Worm.
Yippee! Yeah. Like the Atakan against Bandits is a prime example of that, where it's like we dance around that for 3 minutes and what are we doing? Like we're playing a Talon draft and we've slowed the game down by dancing around an objective for 3 minutes. An objective that if they start, you wipe them if they go there. I think that is the sort of difficulty is like it's those little I say they're little mistakes. They're fixable mistakes.
Yeah,
right?
they're simple mistakes.
You can point to them. Anyone can look at it and go, well, that's wrong. And that means you should fix them. Whereas it's not one of these things where you sit there and go, are they getting hands diffed? Like, what is the small...
Yeah.
Are they swapping a bit late here that they're dropping a few CR? It's not that kind of intricate. It literally is the case of, please recall. And I think if that's solved by having another voice, Rhythm is someone that should hopefully bring another dimension to, say, some late game team fighting. They should be a dark horse, hopefully. We say this for Chi every single split, even before I was on it. We say Chi should do better in the lower bracket, and then last split it was against Belfast Storm, and then the split before that it was against they win against Vertex, and then they lose to Brod in a 2-0 where they were winning every early game against that Brod roster, and they should win that series. And it just doesn't make any sense why it seems to always be that it never turns up. This has to be the time they turn up.
this split started as like, this is going to be the split where Gucci aren't just the look at how much potential they have team, because they started so well, and now we're back at the look at how much potential they have team, but they're still in the lower bracket, and we're still nervous about the first lower bracket match, right? And like, and then if you step forward to that, and what are you going to get? Like, potentially Venom Crest or Absolved, and Absolved who just beat Venom Crest, or Venom Crest, like, that's not going to get any better. Like, you need to switch
you get
on.
Someone drop down. Like, you get one of the teams that drop
Or
down.
do they get one of the swap? Do they get a drop down?
I think they get a drop down, but I
That's
don't
even
know.
worse.
But they've beaten them. Gucci have beaten anyone that we don't think Belfast are going to drop, right? We don't think Belfast.
It's
wouldn't
quite
have thought
unlikely.
so, no.
Quite unlikely.
It would
Other
be very
three
unlikely.
more
They've beaten
open.
all
It's
other
so
three
doable.
teams.
It should be so doable.
And like, it should be so doable. And now, if you're going to sit there and say they beat those teams with Marrow in ADC, and now you've got Rhythm coming in, and like, as much as they say they aren't, like Sin, Fuyu, they respect Rhythm.
Yeah.
They know what
And-
Rhythm can do.
Yeah.
So it's one of these things where, does that play a factor? It's just, come on now, like, please, like, I feel kind of bad, and I shouldn't say this as a member of it, but like Kurosh, I think, has been really good, even in the losses. I think Kurosh has been a phenomenal player this split.
He came in, should have been the best mid in the league, and I think he probably is. Like,
I think he's really close to make. I know this is bias, but
Mhm.
I think it's really close to making that argument. If you watch his laning phases against BB Muffin, against QQR, even in the loss versus Venom, against Ketsuo, he was fed on
just
that
the goat.
Akali.
Yeah.
He just plays the lanes incredibly well. His laning is really, really solid, and that's something that often UK mids can lack.
Yeah. Like,
I just really, as a member of Gucci, it annoys me even more.
yeah.
Like, you guys watch it, and I'm sat there like, why is this happening to me?
That's
Why
my
is this
solace,
what's going
is that
on?
I know I can never be as annoyed as Rob is about this. So,
Like, I have to hold my breath every time we get a lead in the first 10 minutes. Like, I have
I
to.
know.
And that's the thing that makes it very, very difficult. But I do think Rhythm adds a lot more.
At the very
Winning.
least,
It's
Rhythm,
about winning. It's a winning mentality.
Rhythm is surely the guy who has got a bit of gold and is backing ASAP to get some items in scale. Rhythm is not greeding on the map for dragons, you know? He's on the way back. He needs to get to 6 items pronto, so he's not going to stay there.
I think that there is a thing to be said about teams willing to make changes as well. I know that people can say it's late in the season, etc., etc. I think if you sit there and if internally you, or not internally, but you identify some sort of issue that you view as being, you want to make a change. I do like if you feel like because people say, what's the point? I think that happened. I saw it in a broad, some of the broad lot will be like, what's the point? You're not going to go to RPS. And I think the point is to play at LAN. The point is to be there up on the stage. I think weirdly enough, LAN actually takes precedent over RPS because, again, we don't quite know the changes for 2026, but we have a good idea. I think getting to LAN is the most important thing. This is what every player in the UK wants to play live on stage and have people cheering for them.
Yeah.
And I think that should be the goal for this. Should have been this goal for this Gucci roster with what they've been building with Chompy, Challenge, top Spanish support, Qualsy, top Latvian jungler, and it's not quite there. So let's see if they can get there with Rhythm. I'm going to be biased. I have to predict Gucci for this. I'm beating about the bush, but
that's all right. Yeah, you got to back yourself. If the Gorilla Jones discourse on Twitter in the last 24 hours has taught us anything, everyone's like, yeah, we can see where the like mountains of hate have come from, but you got to back yourself. You got to at least play the game and get off the bench. And to some degree, that is completely correct. Trajan, backing ourselves. How is this one gonna go? Are we expecting Bulldog's madness just to spike Rob and spite him, or is Gucci gonna coast this one?
I can't
through?
pick Venom Crest and then Bulldog. I can't do it. I'm not doing that.
He's rolled some dice and realized we are out of the curve.
No, I am in my pick. On the surface, I'm in my pick the names I recognize era, but like this is.
You sound like a manager of an esports team then.
I know, exactly, right? I should just draft a team like that. But this, I believe and have witnessed too much in the quality of Kurosh, Rhythm as well, and Loopy especially, like one of these players that recently came up and was so quickly identified, like, that I could see, like, the quality this guy brings. And even in these losses, I can see the value here. As you say, Rob, the issues are simple. The issues are coachable. The issues are really easily identifiable. And we should not be losing a best of 3. I opened this discussion saying I don't think best of 3 is good for Bulldog, and I think that is still really key. I think Kurosh is going to have a field day in mid lane, and I think that like that is going to be potentially the swinger here. So I have to say good cheat. I'm taking like it's probably like 65.
Going into the final day as well, I believe there was a world where Gucci could have been second. That's another thing to mention, is that in terms of the swing we had here, we have to keep bringing
anybody
up
could have been second, mate.
That's what I mean. It's one of these things where like we have to bring up that they had tiebreakers against all of those teams that would have been 5 and 4. So they were either going to be at the bottom of the pack or the top. And I think that, I mean, you're saying like if they are even at 25 minutes, both teams, right? Let's say somehow it is. Surely the experience and the late fight team fighting power of Kurosh Rhythm
can
with a top laner that's willing to play tanks.
Surely.
Surely that is enough to win a game.
Yeah.
Surely Rhythm is just farming those team fights, because it's like I mean, Kurosh isn't air, but it's close enough. You know, it's not like he's got like.
To be honest, he's kind of air. I think Kurosh is really, really good. Like, he doesn't even play that much. He isn't like a different pool either necessarily. Like, I think he's a pretty similar inputs. He just doesn't really make mistakes and does a whole lot of damage and gets a whole lot of value. So,
I mean, it's just. I've got to give it to Chi. I think I don't want to bit of a percentage, because anything I say,
I'm going to give him 65-35. So not quite as much, just because of the questionable decisions, and like we have to give credence to the 4 wins that Bulldog have put on the board somehow. So
it has happened, and good cheat, slight roster change. I know it should be managed very well, but that should always inspire like at least a grain of doubt. That things have to now integrate over a split where everyone else has also already changed, and we're changing at the last moment. So it's slightly weakening, but it's Rhythm. Like I'm just reading out of the textbook. I'm sure it's going to be fine.
Yeah, it's Rhythm. I mean, it's. I'm surprised that he wasn't, because he wasn't playing for anyone this split at all. I'm just surprised that we didn't. Maybe he was taking a break and he's happy to come back now.
Because he's done that before, I think. I think he's taken comp breaks before, so I think he's just well aware of when he wants to play and doesn't want to play. So
had a hard split with Rich Gang in Div 1. He did have a hard split in NLC Div 1.
That was great.
But he is someone that we know how good he can be. Hugely deep champ pool. Incredibly solid player. Previous MVP of the league. Come on. Come on.
I think Kurosh might have been MVP on that Tempest split.
He didn't play on Tempest.
I don't know
that was
who
a
the
Bear
MVP
Tree
of that split
one, I
was.
think.
That was Bear Tree top and Kusai.
Kusai, that was it.
Oh, Kusai in mid. Sorry, that's what it was. Who was Kurosh?
My obsession is the history of the UKL since 2020 2023.
Kurosh definitely got regular season MVP 21 spring.
Point, right?
Yeah.
I think there's another one.
I'm thinking of Demise.
Playing with a certain bot lane on Belfast.
Yeah, it's we got our strong players and they're still here, which is just so nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway.
I'm gonna bring it back to us, fellas. We've made our choices. I think we align with what I know as reality now. But as ever, there might be some surprises around the corner. Anything else we want to say before we take a sort of a look towards Monday?
The season's very stressful to try and interpret.
It's a
He's
very
not wrong.
difficult one to
He's not
predict.
wrong.
Yeah.
I think that even though it's pretty close, I think there should be some firm favourites. In these
Perhaps
games.
one firm favourite.
One firm favourite for the entire thing, potentially. Again, watch Broad and Friends, because of the fact that I triple checked Broad need to win one best of series to confirm RPS. And I think that's always been the goal for Govern Nemley, is to represent UK esports at a higher level. And I think that that'll be really, really good for the scene to see Broad competing.
A season like this does end up feeling like the teams that don't make it, it feels extra sort of gut-wrenching for them because of how close everything was and how, especially for Bandits, how they were just starting to get it together and how their other competitive pursuits were going way better than this the whole time. And they just couldn't get it on the Rift in Four Nations somehow. They just could not put it on the Rift. And then they just about work it out just in time to get tiebreaker out of it. Like, that's brutal, man.
And I think no matter who goes to RPS, I mean, we know who's going pretty much if Rob win. I think that the whole scene should... I know people like to have their tribalism in terms of their teams. I'd like to see the whole scene get behind our two representatives.
Yeah.
I don't know, do we know, this is obviously for a future thing, who exactly... Because it's going to be 2 teams from NLC Div 1 and then 2 teams from each regional league, I believe, is usually the format that RPS takes. And I'd be interested to see. I don't quite know who the 2 NLC teams are going to end up being, but it will be really, really exciting to see. I know a lot of the other regions are very, very strong. At least Denmark is on the up. And this is crazy.
Yeah.
But Denmark is looking a lot stronger this year than previous years. And then Sweden is also quite strong. Sweden and then Finland's always a bit weird, and they have mid laners that play Fizz and Brand and stuff, and just crazy players.
Sick.
I think that I'm really excited looking for the... Like, it's sad to already look past these playoffs, but I think RPS is something that will be on everyone's minds, at least Brod's minds, even if they don't get to finals, which they should. They should. And if they're not, Gov will have to do a Q&A and answer questions from the fans. And Nemly. Because he sits and hides behind the Brod Sports Twitch. He doesn't sit there and talk at his main account, Nemly. He doesn't want to be seen by the public.
No.
He needs to answer questions to the press properly.
He hides behind the limited liability of the Broad Sports
brand. Yeah, exactly.
Corporation.
Yeah. I haven't got the RPS format yet. I don't think anyone does. Taking a quick look through the seeding stages of NLC, which is like their very short regular season before an extended playoffs. Lungvis light side, 99.9999% they've come last in every group they've played in, will be entering this system. Assuming it's a year-long one, that would lean towards Chaos Esports also coming down.
Chaos, probably
is likely.
Chaos and maybe
DMG are also down there. They've had some not great finishes.
Is it done? It depends if it's done all year long or if it's done.
Yeah, if it's done off summer, it's Ruddy and Lungvis.
That's
which would be
we can see
fun.
Jake versus Porp. Let's go.
Jake versus Porp would be an all-timer RPS.
We get to see G-Trax versus Spark. I'm so excited. Like hype. No, I think that Spark, I think that that's really, really exciting to look forward to as well. But for the rest of the playoffs, it's going to be hard. We'll see teams. I think we're going to see a few teams really start turning it on in Fearless, because I think that's what we had in not so much in the previous splits. We had definitive like top 2s, definitive, who we think is going to get to finals. At least one team, usually 2. And in this one, let's be honest. Other than Belfast, who we're pretty firm as the favourites, I think you could take any of the other 8 reasonably. Maybe there's a couple you'd be less confident in, maybe in Bulldog, possibly.
Possibly.
And say that they could make a run to finals. And I think that's really, really exciting, because usually it's just like, oh, well, lower bracket, none of them will make it across. Upper bracket, and 2 of those teams are going to make it. I'm just hoping that we see some really competitive best of 3s and best of 5s, because I really don't. I want to get full Fearless drafts. I want to see what some of these teams have, because a lot of them have really defaulted to the Trundles of the world at the moment, the Wukongs of the world, and I want to see where they go in game 3s and game 5s with Fearless.
Yeah, whip the Carthuses out,
Yo.
Get your Carthuses out for the lads, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But
no more Talon though.
No more Talon.
Talon's
bad.
Is there anything else? Like, I mean, I don't think there's much else with the playoffs.
No, that's round 1. That's round 1. I think when we get those drop downs, and we sort of see who lines up and how those victories and losses look, we're gonna have some more vibes, some more feelings, because there's nothing like a lower bracket run, and I think the truth is no one ever sees it coming from round 1. There's always like, oh, big hill to climb, so we'll have to see who gets that started.
I do have a question. One more question. If you had to vote now, we can do top 1, best player or top 3 players, because this is going to change, I'm
Yeah.
assuming.
Well, let's say regular season. So are we just
Regular
leaking
season.
our regular season MVP voting?
I mean, it depends if you want to do just
Currently. I
across
could
all
always change
roles
it,
or
yeah.
across one for each role.
Whatever
it's a
you
bit
like.
Fly and then
Whatever you like. What do you fancy, Rob?
Can I be biased?
Of course you can.
The whole of no. Top lane, man, it's got to be Raider.
Yeah, I think it's probably Raider.
I wonder which top laner I'm voting for.
We've got a nice crop of good top performers. It's not been as spectacular from players like Lars, but I think the top lane pool is actually a lot better, and people deal with him better. And his team was just completely hopeless for games for some reason whatsoever. So like, Akers, Aniki, Carry looks a lot better at there. Loopy, like. I'm sad that I can't really say refresh right now, but normally I would. Kerberos, like, more top laners than not, I'm like, that's a good top laner. You know what I mean? And that's kind of not that common when you get down to like
have them on your team.
lower...
That's the way I look at it. You're happy to sign them. If you were a manager of a team, you wouldn't feel bad about signing them as a UK talent.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think top is actually kind of stacked right now. But Raider, as we've seen, when the team and he knows how to move around each other, this guy just warps the whole game. He warps the entire game.
He's
Surely record for number of Flame Horizons in a single season smashed by Raider already, and we're not even at playoffs.
I mean,
playoffs game. We're expecting like maximum games for him as well.
Yeah, I'm thinking about jungle. I think I'm going Nulty for jungle, which might be a hot take, but I think Nulty has been
He's been there.
phenomenal. And weirdly enough, Roulette is obviously up there, but I think what Nulty does with what he's provided, I think is significantly more.
With his rusted
But
battle
Roulette's
tools.
been really good. Like Roulette against Trizzy was that game versus Bandits was really gross for what Roulette did to Trizzy in that game, and it was Nocturne versus Kindred as well, which is just like usually a horrible matchup for the Nocturne, and Roulette did a number. And but it's for me, it's Nulty mid lane. This is bias. I think Karosh has been the best mid laner.
Yeah, I think he is.
And then in bot lane, that's really hard.
Spark and
Spark. Yeah, go Spark, and then support is the hardest one here for me because
maybe it's a little Yamsu. Maybe it's a Spark Yamsu combo. I quite like what Yamsu, because all of the supports have been really up and down. Except maybe Machu actually, because he's not played all the games.
Yeah, I think Machu probably.
Little Pants has also had a really clean season. So maybe it's Spark Little Pants, just because like maybe I'm just recency biasing some of the Machu games where they 2v2 killed Spark and Zeta, but I think probably Spark Little Pants.
Oh, yeah. My most underrated player, by the way, is going to be Rue. I keep shouting this guy out every single broadcast.
Oh, yeah.
I have to just want to give another shout out here because we're not going to talk about Bandits again.
Sorry, Bandits.
I just want to shout out Rue massively at this stage before we end up signing off or ending this, because I think that despite the losses, I think he always looked really, really solid, really good laning. And I kind of wish Bandits had somehow crept in with their back end of the split form, because I'd love to see Rue in a best of series.
We would be talking about this lower bracket in a very different way if it was like, and from the lower seeds, the top rope, the steel chair, the Bandits.
Like it's like an actual shark at the bottom. Like anyone who drops down is like, oh, for goodness sake. And like I think that they're currently playing in Benelux Send. Everyone predicts them to win that whole thing. I think a different Lars of MCon has predicted, done his tier list on that, and has Bandits at the top. But I just want to shout out Rue as a UK player, as someone that I think has been, despite the losses, and he was in pretty much all of those games. I think he was a phenomenal player that I kind of wish we were seeing more of in best of series, to see beyond the Vlad, the LeBlanc, and the Ari and the Victor he's shown. I want to see more I want to see him play more, because I think he was really, really solid. But yeah, I think it's got to be Raider, Nulty, Kurosh, Spark, and then I will go Machu, but support's probably the hardest one to really predict here.
Machu's
Little
a fair
Pants
shot for sure.
Little Pants is also up there, but I don't think any supports really stood out as being like, Jesus, they've just 1v9'd the league. Like, Whereas some of those other players have had some really good
Certainly not
performances.
1v9ing their role. Like they're not clearly first.
I'll wait for Temporal to give his opinion, because Temporal usually has an opinion on these things. He usually says, actually, it's the entirety of Inkquick.
Actually, it's my
go.
boys in the retirement home.
Yeah.
I think we've had a pretty good show from lots of players, and supports had, or like to add to the difficulty of support, and support players have been like very good, is that a few have like moved in and out over the split. Like we haven't seen Geibel play every single game. Inkquick rotate around their AD carries, so your sort of vibe check on those games against those AD carries, and then how the support plays with them changes, because I think Prospect are pretty good overall, but often put in like very unworkable situations. And then his jungler shows up and is like, quick, get behind Nalty, get behind him. Sprumble had like 1 or 2, and I was like, hello? That's how the Smolder gets to late game. That's an alright one. But it wasn't enough, right? And these teams are kind of gone. I'm going across. I think Zeta for me, this split has been a consistent sort of impress on stream. That comes with the caveat I haven't watched all of the off-stream games because 24 hours in a day has really sold me short at the moment. And I definitely need, like, you know, if we could just like split me in 3, I think I'd be able to cover all the things I want to. Like two wouldn't even do it. 2 wouldn't even do it.
Do you disagree anywhere else though on any of the other roles, or because that's the?
I don't think any of it's invalid, right? I think not only are our teams very close in record, but a lot of the players have like pushed their limit and grown. So like some of my things I'd be like, oh yeah, in week 2 this was great, and I was like, but I don't think I was as impressed again. So I'm a little bit lost in the sauce. I think Gabby for AD carry did better than expected for me.
There's a lot of close seconds and thirds.
Yeah, it's really like Emil is a shout out.
Emil's a shout out just because
Limsey,
of being
like,
wielded around. Limsey's almost on the promise split. Like in results, and in gameplay, I think he's nearly there. So like,
I would have decided between Limsey and Kurosh personally.
Yeah.
If I had to pick one. But
yeah, BB has dropped a little bit for me.
Yeah, he's just dropped out of the conversation for best. Like
it's really difficult.
He's
on
still
some of the
really
roles.
good.
Top.
He is.
Jungle is a bit easier because I think for me there's 2.
Yeah, it takes a lot to push Nalty and Roulette from that conversation.
And then I think Tweak is the 3rd for me, only because I think he's been sold short in some drafts where he's playing like Pantheon in a game where you can't play Pantheon and stuff like this. And so I think if that's solved, maybe that's a possibility. Because he did like do a number early in the split. He was, I mean, there's the game they played versus Absolved, and that was the Tweak show on the Trundle where he literally, no offense to T-Time, he completely gapped T-Time in that game.
Yeah.
It was like from minute 1 he like ran the map, and I think that Tweak can do that. So he's someone I look at as like as a 3rd, but then I think he's Porp's close to that.
Yeah, Porp's done the same thing on the same champion. You know,
Porp's done that. Like I think Pivotal was really good on Bulldog, but he's gone.
Tier,
it's difficult because I think there's a lot of like it's really close because of the standings as well. But I was interested to see people's thoughts because I think playoffs is going to shape up really differently once we get into best of series, right? Because players will not get to rely on those crux champions.
I could also leak something that's like muddying my decision making. When we all do MVPs, I kind of go through and I do my tally and like I look at who's really good, and then if I think everyone else is like auto voting for them, and I think the delta isn't as high as literally everyone who's not on their team and not on the broadcast voting for them, if I think the delta is like too much, I'll switch it. So not many people go and look in the back sheets, but you might see some flipped priorities for me, just because I don't think the gap is as big as like everyone voting the same thing would produce.
Yeah, so
and doing that in live right now, I'm...
Yeah. I think what I want for the next split, this is kind of apropos of nothing, but I want Inkquick to basically be the same, and then I want Broadham Friends to be the same, and I want a team like, maybe Rise is the easiest to do this with, but you have like Aniki, Tweak, Rue, like Marrow, Nemone, and then you have 3 generations of like UK teams almost, like of like, or of UKEL, like 4 nations all in the same league, just because we used to Broad and Friends used to kind of be like the OG, and then Inkwit came back above them in age. So,
like
I
heard the
want
stick
there to be-
tapping down the corridor, and we got the Smash Bros intro.
Yeah, or you can have like Loopy in there as well instead, right? Just like I want 3 gens in one league. That's it would.
So we don't have the
because-
conversation like in football where they're like, "Oh, Pele was the best of all time."
Yeah.
Except we just see them play each other, and then
The who
we're
would
all
win
really
conversation.
old. So like we actually can get a kick out of seeing Crossfair like laning against Nemini or whatever, you know, like there's actually
You could never.
we have the through line of emotional connection.
It's so cool.
I just want the players to stick around. I think there are players like Tweak is a great example. As I said about a bit of times, is half British. Rue is another one. I just want these players to stick around in the scene because I think it really develops a really good sense of community. And it also means like we get to see newer rosters, teams being formed. It's not about recycling players, but you know, because sometimes players are past their sell-by date sometimes. But in general, I think it's good to see players coming back and us having variety in the league on teams where new players can establish themselves as being members of the scene, as opposed to just being, well, we had one split of this guy and now he's gone back to whichever league he came from and we never hear from him again. You know, Insomnia hopefully comes back, things like this. I want to see.
Yeah.
I want to see. Let's get the UK league scene back in full swing. And
Good stories take time.
yeah,
You can't tell. There's a limit to how good of a story you can tell over one split.
And I would love to tell that story not from hastily and very very grateful for a setup of an army sergeant's PC at the side of the food truck. That would be that'd be fantastic.
Maybe a step up from that.
You know, I can't
or in a
argue with
basement
it.
in Manchester, one of those two.
Your basement in Manchester. It was all
Shout out, Rod.
organic
Shout out,
finals.
Gov.
That one.
Shout out Gov for
For going and scouring it for us.
Shout out Gov. It's but yeah, fingers crossed we can get some stuff together. Hopefully.
It's
get
gonna
more of
be a
those
good
events
time.
coming
It's
through.
gonna be a good time.
I know the players want to come. I know players like Tweak want to come to they want to come. As in, they want. It's not just oh, I'm living in this. I'm living. You know, I'm half English, but I'm living abroad. I'm not gonna. They want to come. They want to travel and play at LAN. They want to play in finals and represent the UK. So let's make it happen. You know, come on, Rise, you can do it. Come on, ruin Brod's day. Beat Belfast and knock Brod out of upper bracket and go to finals in their place. Come on, Rise. Come on, Sin. You want to talk the talk?
To be fair, J-Real has put in the chat
Yeah.
that if Caster Minions win at LAN, we should get a spot UKL. This is relevant because Broad is competing at that LAN. So I say we get their spot if we win. I think that's fair. I think that's just trial by combat rules, you know?
So the winner go the spoils. Tweet comes in and says Monday's going to be an upset. Rise feeling good. It's a good sign to see. You know, we got to respect the uphill battle. And I'm excited for it. I think it, like, no matter what, with Bandits unfortunately gone, ain't quick, maybe going to be having a struggle in the upper bracket. I think it's so exciting that we're maybe going to get new teams again at finals. I think the odds of Venom Crest making it quite slim. So getting more players on stage through this year, I think we've had such a change in 2025. Like, we are now there. We are now out in person in the touching grass phase. And whatever next year brings, it's been so magic. It's such a change.
Oh, see everyone at Stoke. Everyone better come.
Everyone better come to Stoke. We haven't stuck it up on Twitter yet. Teams, of course, have been told in time enough to arrange anything that would help them get there. Should they feel they're going to get there. And we did show that from broadcast. But yeah, if you're a fan and you're wondering, like, what are they talking about Stoke for again? We will be back. Big formal announcement soon. But, you know, you're watching, so you get to be told. You're in. You're in here with Rob.
Yeah, in with Rob.
Me?
Rob.
Robin?
Don't say Robin question mark. No, it's never Robin. It's never been Robin. And
It's
it
not
never will
Robin,
be.
it's in Rob.
I don't want anyone entering me in any facility.
Listen, right, Stoke gets a little crazy sometimes.
It
Stoke,
does,
yeah.
it does. And talking of the bouncer coming over, J-Real in his big suit saying, get off the railing, gentlemen. Closing
true.
remarks on round 1 as we approach the 2-hour mark, 1 hour 45. Let's wrap up. I think the vibes are strong, the heartbreak is strong. The bracket is gonna be brutal for at least 2 teams. Do we have like a sentence or a phrase for this?
I just hope that Belfast lose games. And that's not because I want Belfast to lose, but rather I want to not have a league where we're sitting there with the overall favourite. I think we've often had splits with one team that we point to and say they're just going to dominate. They're good in round robin, but they're going to dominate in playoffs. And I just hope that, not that they lose a series necessarily, I'm not praying on their complete downfall, but I just hope that
we want to see some.
I want to see Rise 2. I want to see at least a 2-1 in that series on Monday. I want to see Belfast in the upper bracket being taken to, whether in Quick or Broad, and I want to see in finals if Belfast make it, which I think is our prediction. I want to see a close series. We had an upset, I would say, in finals last split with the reverse sweep coming out from Venom Crest, and I want to get similar kind of vibes because I don't think it's always the best look when you have a team that's running the rift, so to speak. And I think that I just want to see. I want to see loads of games. I want to see exciting champions. I want good games. I think we've had some okay ones this split. Very messy, very messy games in round robin. Clean it up and get some better league, but still close series.
Yeah. I think we used to be sweeps in every final region. No longer. Now we're reverse sweeps in every final region. Okay, so
fear game
that's what I
1.
want, and I don't think anyone strolls away with a 3-0 in Grands anymore. I think we're beyond that, and I'm here for it.
All right, we dream for that magic of the spring finals once again. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. And as I go and change over the text from the starting soon screen, there we go. We hope you've had some fun. The VOD should be up soon if you've missed any of this. For some reason, Twitch's processing has decided it has to hide them for reasons unknown. But I have pushed publish on it, so that should be great. And talking of which, we are chewing through the back catalog. I'm going to try and make sure we get all of spring playoffs on YouTube today. And that should include finals, so that'll take a hot minute to process. We hope you've had fun. And let's consider these playoffs previewed. We'll see you on Monday for a best of 3 between seeds 1 and 4. It's going to be Belfast Storm versus Rise Gaming. We'll see you then.